I hear a lot of discontent from my clients who have tried to secure board roles, and maybe they're doing a bit of a scattergun approach in the market. And candidates typically these days just don't have a very sophisticated approach. So I just want to outline what is, in my opinion, a winning board application process from beginning to end. First and foremost, you identify, where is your unique value proposition? Where could you add the most value? Where would you be a top 10% candidate? So I've got to assume you've got that piece of the puzzle right. So let's say you've heard about an opportunity, maybe you've seen an opportunity advertised. What are the correct steps from there to secure a meaningful interview and secure that opportunity? First and foremost, you don't just rush and send off your application. Big mistake. First and foremost, you must map out and research that organisation to the nth degree. First and foremost, quickly find out who is on the board of directors, do some research, have a look at your mutual connections, study the board, and if it's a listed entity, you might be able to pull down some records, some annual reports, a strategy document. There's usually quite a bit of information that you can pull, even for private enterprises. So first and foremost, do your research. I cannot tell you how many people I speak to who are unhappy about their results, and they've applied for a role and they didn't get an interview and they're complaining about it. And then I ask them, well, who is on the board of directors? They don't know. That's an epic fail, okay? So you must know who's on the board of directors. You must have done your research before you even apply, because when you're doing your research, you're analysing who's got what skills, where potentially there might be some gaps in that board of directors. So that's going to help formulate your thoughts on, putting your application together. Second key component is you've got to try and establish a relationship with the board of directors, the nomination committee, before you apply. If you try and do this after you've applied for the role, this is what we call lobbying for the position. That, generally speaking, doesn't work. So you only get a small window potentially to reach out to a mutual connection, maybe establish a connection with one of the board members, ask them about the board, ask them about the opportunity. Now, you won't always be afforded, lengthy conversations. The reality is there's a lot of competition for roles. So if it's advertised, you might find it's extremely difficult to get people on the phone, and they can't afford to talk to everybody and tell everyone about the board role and whether or not you're a fit or not a fit, and why you should apply. That just doesn't happen. So just be realistic. But if you can establish a connection with someone on the board, it can be extremely helpful. And we try and counsel all of our clients to do this before they apply, and it does increase the strike rate, the success rate of securing a meaningful meeting about the opportunity, because people will gather that additional information. And then obviously you want to weave that information into your cover letter. It is a huge mistake, obviously, not to have a cover letter, and it's also a huge mistake not to PDF all of these documents together so that they cannot be separated and so that you have a complete application. I cannot tell you how many people say to me, oh, well, I couldn't upload a cover letter. I could only upload a resume. I'm sorry, are you that silly that you don't understand that you can PDF documents together? Your resume and your cover letter should be part and parcel of your complete application. Do not separate these documents out. So even if they're asking for a cover letter and a resume separately, upload the one document twice and make sure you've got the two documents together. It's really crucial, really, really simple to get this right and not difficult. And of course, it will help ensure that whoever does eventually look at your application will be reading the cover letter first. And obviously, if you have a good cover letter, that's going to help encourage someone to read the resume. I cannot tell you how many times resumes actually don't get read. They get quickly flicked over, and so the cover letter is really crucial because it quickly should grab someone's attention to then draw them into the document and to take a little bit more time to assess your candidacy, and so that's really crucial to get that right. So the other thing you can do is once you've submitted a formal application is you can then still send maybe an official or a sort of a semi-formal email to maybe one of the key parties. So you might have had a connection with the board. You might know someone, on the board who's handling the recruitment process. So let's say you've applied officially, you've sent in your application, you've done the hard yards beforehand, you've established some contact. Then I would do a follow-up email. I've applied for this role. I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to speak with you. Just a couple of key reasons why I applied, and I believe I'm an exceptionally good fit. Thank you, etc. A very short form version of your cover letter, but again, it's speaking to the professionalism and it's just going that little bit extra to try and stand out from the crowd. Anything you can do along the way that differentiates you from what everyone else is doing. And quite frankly, everyone else is doing a very minimal amount of effort. So you do stand out by doing some effort, but you'll stand out even more if you get all of these steps right. And it is really now the new paradigm. You must really approach this in a highly professional way. The competition is too high. If you want to secure meaningful meetings and to progress to the interview stage, you've got to get the fundamentals right. So that, in my opinion, is the key to a winning application. You've got to do the assessment first, really do your research. Then you've got to sort of garner as much of that research as possible. Try and speak to someone beforehand. Weave that into your cover letter. Make sure your cover letter and your resume are standout and they're all joined together, fully customized to that organization and their requirements and their needs. So no generic documents being sent out here. And then, of course, the follow through to just try and get it over the line for a meaningful meeting. And then you want to obviously, continue to follow that organization. You might not be successful the first time, but you might get an opportunity down the track. So always use these recruitment processes as an opportunity to expand your business network, increase the number of board directors that you have in your network so that will become a powerful opportunity in the future, even if you're not immediately successful.